Hello there, this is Robert Kornacki, Head of Research at Ergo and Ergo Foundation board member. Today is a really exciting day for the ecosystem. Not just because we have this awesome event, the Ergo Summit, but also in addition to that, we are announcing the release officially of the AgeUSD stablecoin protocol. This has been in the works for a number of months and has been made possible due to a collaboration between the Ergo Foundation, Ergo, and IOG. This is a novel stablecoin protocol, and it is the first stablecoin protocol to be built on top of built and designed on top of the extended E-UTxO model. And so today, in this talk, we're going to be looking at what is the AgeUSD stablecoin protocol, what are we releasing, and what does this mean for you, the users of Ergo and the ecosystem as a whole. So, we'll be having a couple talks after this, getting into the nitty-gritty of the stablecoin from both the more economic, game theoretic perspective and also the technical perspective of the smart contracts. But in this talk, I'm going to be introducing you to what we're releasing and kind of a very short and high-level overview of what is AgeUSD, what are the implications, how do you mint stablecoins, what else is part of the protocol. We're going to get into all of that right here and right now. So what you see right in front of you is the AgeUSD repo that will be released and should be public right now as you're watching this talk. In this repo, just to give you a quick overview, you will find that it is divided into a number of sections. We have the AgeUSD specs, which are the high level specs that explain exactly how to implement the protocol. And so we have all these specs defined, so you can go take a look and read through them all. They effectively are similar to what you may remember from the Oracle pool specs, quite similar to that. We have the smart contracts, of course, so you can go read the smart contracts, you can understand the different parts. We actually split up, we developed both the specs and the smart contracts into different phases, and so as we added more complex features, we kept improving the specs and improving the smart contracts, which allows you, the potential future developers who want to build other dApps, or maybe take this AgeUSD code and contracts that we wrote, and maybe you want to add new features. You can see the step-by-step process of how we built these up, and it's all available for you to dive into in this repo. Furthermore, we have the AgeUSD headless dApp, and so what this headless dApp allows is that once someone in the ecosystem launches the AgeUSD stablecoin protocol, maybe they'll improve on it, add features, that's to be seen. The headless dApp will allow anyone to compile the methods required to interact with the released instance of AgeUSD, or whatever new protocol someone builds on top of AgeUSD, and allows them to build unsigned transactions or integrate with the transaction assembler, allowing you to build web UIs, allowing you to build command line interfaces, allowing you to build mobile applications, desktop apps, all just by integrating with the headless dApp. And this is why we've invested a lot of time into headless dApps, which you'll hear more about in this summit about. And that's why we devote a lot of time to having the AgeUSD headless dApp be available on release, so that both for whoever wishes to deploy AgeUSD onto Ergo and whoever wishes to create UIs and then make money by creating really high quality UIs and earning a small percent back for creating the UI on top of the headless app. We are trying to build out the infrastructure here so that both for deploying the stablecoin and both for building on top of it in terms of UI and for developers in general, we're making this experience as streamlined as possible so that we can really get a decentralized ecosystem. And we spent a lot of time, research, and development work to make this all a reality. Finally, we also have the CLI, which allows technical users to use a deployed AgeUSD instance on chain and start to mint stablecoins and interact with the protocol. However, the CLI is much more of a technical tool that's meant to be used by technical individuals and also for testing for developers. All of this is being released so that the community can now take all of this research and development work and build on top of it and deploy the AgeUSD protocol. This is one of our largest projects, I think, that we've really tackled. And what's cool is that the Oracle pools, which we developed about half a year ago, now are being utilized, and we're starting to see this building effect where every single previous piece of the DeFi puzzle that we scaffolded from the ground up now fits on top of each other. And so now that we have Oracle pools, it's really not that challenging to get nice data feeds so that we can build a stablecoin. Furthermore, because we created the headless dApp framework a couple months back and released that, now that we have the headless dApp framework, we can create a headless dApp for the AgeUSD stablecoin protocol so that whenever the AgeUSD protocol is deployed on chain, then front-end implementers will already be able to start implementing and start to earn income so that better and better front-end UIs are developed, and we start to get this really exciting ecosystem where both protocol developers and front-end developers can both benefit from building these kinds of dApps and deploying them. And so this is really exciting, and I think AgeUSD is the prime example that we're going forward with at the start of 2021 to show just what is possible in the ecosystem. So that's a kind of a high-level overview of where we're at with the structure and what we're releasing. However, I'm sure as most of you would like to know, how does AgeUSD actually work? And so in this repo, all of this is going to be explained in detail and you'll be able to read this. However, I'll kind of jump in and give you a high-level overview. Most stablecoins, which you may know of, that are crypto-backed, which is what AgeUSD is, are based off of MakerDAO and DAI. However, MakerDAO and DAI are based off of the concept of CDPs, collateralized debt positions. And these CDPs have a not so great feature that they can be liquidated. And this is an inherent property of the protocol, but this is a property which we have seen back in March of 2020, where Black Thursday really did not turn out very well, and the further mechanisms to bolster up the MakerDAO protocol ended up liquidating for effectively 0 ETH and just causing serious problems. We, in our initial stages of looking at that protocol, realized that having CDPs and the ability to liquidate causes a lot of issues, because if there's blockchain congestion, then people can kind of get away with murder potentially, and on the auctions of the liquidations, they can just take what's available for nearly $0. Furthermore, having this design of forcing liquidations means that if there's a bit of volatility, you could trigger, 10 or 20% of CDPs to liquidate, even if the price at which they liquidated at was only 1 or 2 cents under their liquidation limit for, say, a few minutes or an hour. And this is not very sustainable, you could argue, because the threshold concept of liquidation for CDPs is very unstable. And in our design of AgeUSD, we kind of looked at what's available out there, and we tried to take the best of the best and come up with a protocol that doesn't have this variability, which is weak due to blockchain congestion, but also isn't weak due to big volatility spikes, which would cause mass liquidation events, and instead tries to smooth all of that out and make the protocol not require dynamic actions that require someone to perform transactions, which fails under blockchain congestion, and which tries to smooth out the issue of when prices decrease, we don't just have liquidation events which kind of cause tragic volatility and issues within the protocol itself. That's why in the AgeUSD protocol, what we actually have are not just AgeUSD stablecoins, but we actually have 2 coins, which is quite interesting and provides us with a lot of benefits, but also more flexibility and power, which is quite exciting. So, in the AgeUSD protocol, we have AgeUSD, which is our stablecoin, which pegs USD, and we have reserve coins. Reserve coins are this novel coin which you can kind of consider representing going long on ergs. So when the AgeUSD protocol is deployed onto the blockchain, first there must be people who wish to mint reserve coins. They do this by, say, putting in, 1,000 ergs, and then they get some exchange rate of reserve coins back. These reserve coins represent the underlying reserves of the stablecoin protocol. So let's say we have this scenario I just mentioned. I put in 1,000 reserves. This is a brand new implementation. It was just deployed. I'm the first person. I mint 1,000 reserve coins. 1,000 ergs worth of reserve coins. Now the reserves in the stablecoin protocol are 1,000. The stablecoin protocol has something called a minimum reserve ratio. This is how many stablecoins can be minted for every erg worth of US dollar inside of the stablecoin protocol. So in other words, if our minimum reserve ratio is 100%, that means if we have 1,000, well, let's say we have $100 worth of ergs. So let's say we have 1,000 ergs. Each erg is worth 40 cents. And so that would be that we have $400 worth of ergs in the protocol. Thus, that means if we have a minimum reserve ratio of 100%, we have the ability to now offer anyone on the entire blockchain to mint up to $400 worth of AgeUSD. And so we have this inherent relation where first users who believe that the price of ergs is going to go up, they mint reserve coins, putting their ergs in the reserves, And then based off of the reserve ratio, this thereby allows and provides the opportunity for then AgeUSD users who want stability of value to then come to the dApp and mint AgeUSD. And so as I mentioned, anyone on the blockchain who has ergs, assuming we have 100% minimum reserve ratio, and we have $400 worth of ergs, so 1,000 ergs at 40 cents each, we have the ability for anyone to mint 400 AgeUSD. This can be done by anyone. And so, assuming we have this scenario, let's say Alice comes into the mix and Alice wants to mint 250 AgeUSD. She takes her ergs, uses the dApp by issuing a transaction, and what she does is she submits herself 250 USD worth of ergs to the reserves, and this allows her to mint those 250 AgeUSD. Now, in our scenario, we have Alice, who has 250 AgeUSD, and we have me, who submit 1,000 ergs and got a bunch of reserve coins back. The exchange rate of reserve coins varies depending on various protocol parameters and the state of the USD to erg exchange rates. But effectively, the more reserve coins you own, the more of the underlying reserves of the protocol, after paying off all of the stable coins, that you have the right to withdraw. To try to give some more light to the explanation of how this all works, let's consider in this scenario, after 30 days, the price of erg goes up. And so in this scenario, what this means is that the 250 AgeUSD that Alice minted now require less ergs to cover them, right? So before she submits sufficient ergs to cover the 250 USD she minted, and now let's say the price went up by 10%, so to cover those AgeUSD, she needs the protocol needs to have 10% less ergs to cover those. Thus, that means the reserve coins that I'm holding actually increased in value. And so I can then go to the protocol and redeem my reserve coins to profit because of the price increase of ergs to USD. And so we have this very interesting dynamic with AgeUSD, where the price of reserve coins changes based off of the current situation of the protocol, the amount of stablecoins minted, and so on forth. And rather than having liquidation like in MakerDAO, instead we do that all automatically based off of the mathematical equations inside of the protocol itself. Thus, we don't need to worry much about blockchain congestion because we don't have liquidation. It's instead in the math, and when someone tries to mint or redeem a stablecoin, then that's when the math gets calculated and there's no dynamicism that's a weak point in the protocol. And so in this scenario, after the price goes up 10%, say Alice wants to redeem her stablecoins, she can go ahead and do so. However, because the price did go up and she chose stability over variability, therefore Alice redeems her 250 AgeUSD for 10% less ergs because she chose stability. I instead chose the variability. I chose to go long, so to speak, on erg, and so I chose to mint the reserve coins. And so since Alice decreased her erg rewards, or her ergs that she redeemed by 10%, those 10% are now in the reserves, and they are mapped to the reserve coins that I'm holding. So now I can redeem my reserve coins and I got 10% more ergs for supplying the reserves that allowed Alice to have that stability of value. And so, in short, we have a protocol that allows people who wish to go long on erg because they believe that the price of erg will go up, and so they can submit ergs to the protocol by minting reserve coins. And we have people who want stability who are allowed to mint AgeUSD because the reserve coin holders provided the reserves in ergs. We have these two different participants of AgeUSD users and reserve providers, and each has great incentives allowing for this whole protocol to survive and have these brand new two DeFi assets being AgeUSD and reserve coins that have a very different dynamics than just holding ergs by themselves. And so what's really exciting is that this new protocol provides us with these new DeFi primitives on top of Ergo, of AgeUSD and reserve coins, and provide a simpler protocol that's less prone to many of the problems we saw on Black Thursday with MakerDAO and DAI, and with CDPs, thanks to having a simpler set of math that doesn't require dynamicism. What's explained here is a very high-level overview, and there's still a few more parts to the protocol, like fees, where anytime someone mints or redeems either stablecoin or reserve coin, then there's a small fee taken, and those goes to the reserves. And so reserve coin minters, or reserve providers, as they're also called, also benefit whenever people mint or redeem AgeUSD, and so there's also extra profit potential for reserve providers, not just on the exchange of the peg of the exchange rate of ERG to USD, but also if a lot of people use AgeUSD, then you also profit. And so we're trying to create a protocol that really incentivizes the users who took on the risk by minting reserve coins to really get a solid upside so that we can guarantee liquidity, so whoever wishes for stability always has the ability to mint AgeUSD. With all of that said, this repo and all of these explanations will be, are now public, with the Ergo Summit now being live, and in the consecutive 2 talks after this, we'll be going in depth on the technical side for smart contracts, but also the more incentive side of how this all works and what this means. If you're looking to become, say, a reserve provider, what are all the incentives that can help you to maximize your returns? And if you're an AgeUSD user, what does that stability provide for you, and how can you get into this? And so both of these dynamics allow a lot of exciting new potential, and both reserve providers might also be AgeUSD users. And so it's cool that we have really 2 brand new assets, DeFi assets, that will be available. And so to sum up with this talk, the AgeUSD stablecoin protocol will now be officially released in public. So you can go to this repo, check it all out, see everything from the specs, the contracts, the headless dApp, and how the headless dApp can be used to integrate with, say, a CLI. That is all now public and available for developers and users of Ergo. As stated, we're releasing the protocol, and now we're giving this to the community. And so the community has the ability to very simply take all of this work that we have created and released and simply bootstrap the protocol to put it on chain. We have done all the research and made sure from basics of design to the actual code written in both the headless dApp, in the smart contracts, that everything is a unified system that's ready to be deployed by the community. We think this is a really exciting step forward, as this has been a really great partnership between the Ergo Foundation, Ergo, and IOG, and we've made a lot of amazing steps forward in the process of creating this. And as mentioned before, headless dApps are one of the results of this. And this is really the first moment where we have the ability for both smart contract developers, dApp protocol developers, but also front-end developers to jump into the mix and start providing awesome user experiences by deploying the AgeUSD protocol, and then also creating front ends so that the users are not just stuck in one UI inside of a wallet or just one website, but instead they have the ability to choose between multiple great UIs, but also have incentives so that front-end developers can actually earn some profit for providing these awesome user experiences. We believe this is the way forward for the dApp ecosystem as a whole, and now with the release of all of the code of the AgeUSD stablecoin protocol, we're really excited to see members of the developer community deploy the AgeUSD protocol, build amazing UIs on top of it, and allow the ecosystem and all users of Ergo to really get a lot out of this and start to build DeFi from the ground up. Thank you very much for watching this talk. Everything I mentioned here is now publicly available. However, I would implore you not to rush on over there, but to wait for the next few talks where we'll be going very much in depth into the AgeUSD protocol from a technical and incentive perspective, which will really give you an understanding how it all works, which then afterwards I would really recommend for you to check out everything we have released and start, jumping on in, developing, deploying, and building on top of